Welcome to CAM Matters, Condos, Co-ops, HOAs, and beyond. Betsy Barbieux is an informational leader in Florida on community association living, rights, and obligations. She is an expert on the rights and obligations of owners as well as the association. If you live or are planning to live in the state of Florida, there's a good chance you'll be part of a community association. And by the end of this show, you'll know a little bit more about community associations and why they matter.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Welcome to another episode. It's the October 2024 episode of CAM Matters. Wow, the year's flying by. But you know what, Betsy? I'm super excited about this episode. I'm Suzanne with Betsy Barbieux. Betsy, first of all, welcome. Welcome to fall.
Yeah, really. It's 98 degrees here.
I was going to say, the fall in Florida, it is officially, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, look, we are talking about manners today, and we got a lot to cover. You wrote an article. Let me just start by saying, what inspired an article to be written about manners mattering?
Well, it seems like lately I'm on this civility tick. Things just have to change at meetings. This article that I wrote, and for those who are watching, I can send this to you, but it's being published this month, October, in Property Management Magazine. It's a small magazine in South Florida. So if you're in South Florida, you can pick up one of those magazines. But I'll be happy to send you the article, because what we have in the article is a little score page to see how well your board is doing. And manners can cover a lot of things, and I think we'll cover some of those as we go. But are you a functioning board? It's basically the gist of the little article with the little scoring.
Betsy, what are you seeing? Let's cut to the chase. What are you seeing in meetings that inspired this? Because we're dancing around it. Cut to the stuff. What are you seeing?
They're not going well. Meetings are too long. They're unfocused. Boards don't know what they're supposed to do. Owners don't know their role. And the owners then and the board, the tempers are flaring more and more. This has to stop. We need a reset of going back to the beginning. What's the purpose of the board? What's the purpose of the meeting? Are board members prepared, or are they sitting there with an agenda of, I'm going to fire the manager, or I'm going to reduce your assessments, or, if you come in with an attitude and an agenda that is not for the best of the whole community, your board meetings are going to go from bad to worse. And I'm seeing this, and it's disappointing to me that it's more the older people than the young people. And the older people should know better. They grew up understanding manners and politeness and things like that. I'm not sure about the younger generations, the real young ones, but we just can't talk to each other this way.
Well, let's jump in. It looks like, and I don't know if you put them in order of significance or importance, but the first one on there is, do we have a clear and common mission? That seems like a really good number one to start with.
And I could spend the rest of the show on that one. This was the board orientation that I did last night for a management company and their board members. And I think it was the first time that these 50 or so board members had ever heard what they're really supposed to be doing at a board meeting. And we talked about their mission statement, that your board meeting is a business meeting. It's not an informational meeting. And you're supposed to keep your agenda items focused on your mission, which is protect the property and its value, maintain the things that are used in common, and enforce the restrictions on the owner's use rights. That's the purpose of your board meeting. It's not an informational meeting. It's not a Q&A. It's not an arguing back and forth between board members and owners. And I think if we can go back to the very beginning, the purpose of the meeting, we can reset and head in the right direction.
maybe at some point when there's arguing and miscommunication and yelling and chaos happening, we go, wait a minute, let's just go back to Betsy's number one. What is the clear and common mission of this? Because emotions can run high until you get back to what it's all about.
And emotions run high because you're talking about people's money coming out of their pockets. And that makes these board meetings different than a United Way board meeting or a Kiwanis board meeting where you're doing good for other people. Here, in United Way or Kiwanis, some of those things that people have been in, we raise money to give away. In our communities, we're making people pay. And that's an entirely different emotion. Nice and charitable to, this organization needs money from United Way. This organization needs money. Don't we feel good raising and giving all these organizations money so they can help the people in our community? But that is not the attitude on our boards because we are taking money from our members.
And everybody has a different opinion. If the pool needs a repair, but then the roof needs repair and the air conditioning and then the fence and the clubhouse needs to be painted, everybody's going to have their own opinion of what's a priority.
And it all is. So it all has to be done because part of the board's mandate from the statute and the documents is to maintain the property.
Okay, we might need to do a whole show on that one. Well, let's move on. Is there purposeful direction in our meeting?
Well, again, that's tied to your mission statement. Your agenda items need to relate to fulfilling part of your mission statement. Spending money needs to relate to fulfilling parts of your mission statement. You need to be able to come in, one of the next things here is to be prepared and be ready to discuss the agenda items. Look at your board packet that you should be getting ahead of time and read it and understand what you're going to come to the meeting to talk about.
That's good. You make everything very clear. It's very black and white. It's really very simple when you take the emotions out. Exactly. Yeah, that's good. Do meetings create results? I mean, is there anything more important than ROI? Why are we here? Let's results, right?
But I'll tell you, and there will be a lot of people watching this show that will say the board meetings, they put the same thing on the agenda each month and they move it to the next month, the next month, the next month. They kick the can down the road. They won't ever make a decision on it. If you're putting the same thing again on the agenda because you didn't deal with it last month, that's because you're torn between making people happy and doing the right thing that the documents require you to do. And your job is not to make people happy. Your job
Say that again, Betsy. Say that again.
Your job is not to make people happy. No one is ever going to be happy with you spending their money.
Right.
So,
well, true.
So you have a mandate from the statutes and your documents that you have to maintain the property, which means you are going to spend people's money, including your own. The decisions that the board makes affect them too. Sometimes I'll hear owners say, "Oh, that board's just sticking it to us." Well, they're sticking it to themselves too. I mean, they're paying the same amount you're paying.
Kind of forget about that, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's move on to are our board members prepared for the meetings? And you kind of touched on that a little bit with the documents, but I also think kind of emotionally prepared. Are they prepared in the way that the board is set up physically with the chairs and things,
And at the board orientation that I did last night, we talked about the arrangement of the room and the board table. And board members, you need to be sitting around each other, not in a panel style facing the audience. You need to be facing each other. You need to be prepared to talk to each other. You're not there to talk to the owners. The owners may come and listen.
Right.
The meeting's not for them. the
That
meeting.
body language of facing them may encourage
Yeah. Well,
unwelcome
it
communication.
gives the wrong impression.
Right.
If you're facing the owners, it looks like the meeting is for them. So in all fairness, they speak up and they yell and say things at you. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is for the board to sit so their eyeballs can see each other and they can talk. This is the only time that they can all really get together, talk face to face, stick your elbows up on the table and work and make the hard decisions. And right now, boards are making really hard decisions about spending a lot of money. The structural integrity reserve study, reserves, milestone inspections. And now we've just had a hurricane up in the Big Bend area, Horseshoe Beach. And now boards there are going to be making really tough decisions about repairs and where the money's going to come from.
Yeah. Betsy, it seems like a good place to take a break. Let's take a breath, come back and revisit CAM Matters. Thanks.
Are you ready for a new career? Do you have skills or interest in management, real estate, construction, maintenance, accounting, strategic planning, project management, budgets, human resource management, lawn and landscaping, pool services, or any other expertise needed to operate a community association? If you do, community association management could be for you. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Florida Community Association Management continues to grow. Career opportunities abound.
And welcome back to this episode of CAM Matters. Betsy, during the break, we were talking about the angry public, the angry society that we're in. It's a political year, but also, not to sound like an old person that's not into technology or whatever.
Fuddy-duddy.
Detail look. But you can really hide behind a lot of social media. People are mean. They're meaner, I believe. I like to try to see the good in everybody, but it's easy to hide behind social media and just mean. So this is what we're talking about. Manners matter is more relevant than ever.
And we have websites where owners just can gripe and complain. Very seldom would you see a positive comment on a community website where they're able to chat and the comments are unfiltered. Had a board member talking to me today, and she said the emails that she's been getting from her upstairs neighbor are just nasty and awful. And she went then to visit that neighbor to see if she could make some sort of peace with her. And the neighbor was just as nice as she could be. And when you get face to face, it's different. But I also think that you cannot hear the tone or facial expressions while people type it out. And some people are better writers than others, and others just spout off things that seem really harsh. And when you meet them face to face, it's like, oh, hi, I'm your upstairs neighbor.
Yeah. I work at a place where before a stressful event happens, we have a talk as a team. Give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Assume they mean well. Assume they have good intentions, and then go from there. And I love that. That's such a great reminder each time, because it can be so stressful and you just go, why did you can snap. But wait, you know what? What if you are coming about this with a good heart? It just didn't come out right. Maybe that's a good place to start.
And who of us has not misspoken and it didn't come out right? If you get snapped back at and you don't have some conversation, which is one of the ones here with healthy debate.
Let's talk about that.
If you're not able to have healthy debate and understand the reasoning of the other person, and we've talked about this before on a show, that you really are supposed to be listening with the goal of understanding the other person. But most of us don't listen with that goal. Our goal is to listen just long enough to formulate what we want to say, and then we blurt out and interrupt them. And we don't finish what I would call healthy debate. When someone expresses an opinion, and instead of saying, oh, well, that's stupid, that's dumb, I'm not going to do that, then it's like, well, tell me more about that.
Right.
Like,
Why do you feel that way? Where's this coming from? What's the heart behind?
How will this work out? If you play this out and we do this repair, we spend this money, and you need to play out the what ifs and make sure that this plan that you are going to develop is carried through to the end, and taking into account other people's ideas of, well, if we went this direction, we might get there quicker. If we went this direction, it's safer. Okay, well, let's play that out. There might be a reason to take a longer time for a course of action, or there might be a better reason. It's imperative. You can't wait. You have to go on and start and do whatever you can now. But you need those conversations. And I think that most of our conversations are one-ups. It starts with yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
Nothing's good coming from that.
Yeah, I hear you, but.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to go up one.
Yeah. Giving people benefit of the doubt. What if we also went into meetings thinking, I might not have all the information I need before I speak. I just don't want to sound dumb. Why don't I just wait and hear? That gets me.
Why don't I listen?
Yeah. Listen.
The other thing with healthy debate is everybody needs an opportunity to speak at a board meeting. I'm talking about board members. There's very often one board member that drives that meeting and does all the talking. And the other board members they just agree. And you are not being a productive board member if you don't offer your opinion. And whoever is chairing that meeting needs to seek the opinion of the others and ask them look at them and say, what do you think? What are you thinking? And board members should have supporting documentation in a board packet that they received prior to the meeting. So they should be informed. They should have had time to think already. And they need to offer an opinion, even if it's different than the most dominant person in the meeting.
Right. Which brings me to one of the points is having a united front.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
As parents, kid goes to dad, he says no, he goes to mom, you got to be united and stand together, arm in arm.
And the failure of of not being united is a split community. Because when the board makes a decision, even if it's not unanimous, if it's majority vote, these three vote one way, these two vote the other way, when you walk out of that meeting, no one will know except in the minutes that you aren't all united. If it passed with a majority vote, then the two who voted no, they're going to do whatever the majority voted to do. Going out, and running your mouth of, man, I didn't vote for it, so I'm not going to do it. I hope they feel that. That will only create dissension in the community because the community is going to pick sides. And then you're going to have that same language from this group and other language from this group who were the ones in the majority. And then they're going to, at the next election, I'm going to run because I'm going to get on the board and I'm going to stop that.
I'll tell them what I think.
Yeah, I'm going to reverse that.
Yeah.
And that does no one any good. There are board members who do wrong on purpose and they get in trouble with the law. But for the most part, everybody's just trying to protect their investment. As a board member, that's what you're doing. I'm on the board because I care and I want to protect my investment. And going out of a meeting and having one group with a big old cloud over their head and the other group going, here's what we really need to do. It's not pleasant, but we have to do it. it serves no purpose. No one should know after you walk out of that meeting whether you voted yes or no, other than reading the minutes.
Wow, that's really good. Betsy, it seems like when we started doing these shows 6 years ago, this was going to be about policy and rules, changes, understanding how boards work, things like that. I find as we go on, we're talking more about how to get along to accomplish the goals of the board. And that's kind of sad and scary, you know?
Well, it is, and we've gotten too far away from the original purpose of what a board meeting is for. And some of you have listened several months back to the ham story. So what we're living in right now is the ham.
So Betsy, if somebody reaches out to you and they ask for this to score their community, what is this going to tell them about the health of the board?
Well, on the score sheet, you're going to score each of these questions or statements 1 to 5. And as long as you score above 40, you're doing pretty good. But once you get down into scoring in the 30s and below, you're not a healthy board. And you really need to ask for help. And now we have some required training that the legislators have put in. No longer can you sign the statement that just says you know everything. You're a condominium board member. You'll have to take a 4-hour class. And I want to correct something that I said on a previous video. The original legislation for that was that the 4-hour class for condominium board members had to be in person. Here's that they have removed the in-person part of that statute. So the division is now beginning to offer classes. It looks like they're doing 1-hour increments. I'm reapproved by the Division of Condominiums to offer the 4-hour in-person condominium, cooperative, and HOA board training. So I'm continuing with my training. I have a monthly class, and it is 4 hours, so you knock it all out at one time. They put in more training requirement for HOAs. That seems to be real obscure as to exactly what they want for that board training, but boards are being forced to educate themselves more. And so if you find that you really need help, you're not a healthy board, and you'll know if you are or not without taking a test. If your board meetings go on and on and on, there's yelling and screaming and you don't ever get anything done, you already know.
You know the answer. You know, Betsy, what I love about this is if they score low, they know who to reach out to and they know exactly what points they need help on. But if they score high, then they can hang it on the refrigerator in the clubhouse because it's kind of like a report card, right?
Keep going. Yeah. You're doing something right.
Right. Betsy, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up this session?
No, just keep watching the shows. You'll learn a lot. And if you need help, you can always reach out to me. I have several different ways that I can help you.
I love that.
I answer questions all week long.
Yeah, you pour a lot of time and effort into these videos. So be sure to at least rate them, share them, and let Betsy know that you're consuming them and that they make a difference to you. So we'll join you for the November episode next month. So good to hang out with you. Yeah. Bless you. Bless you, Betsy. Bye.
Thank you for listening to CAM Matters. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Information provided on this show is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. Please contact a licensed attorney for your specific situation.